You know, not all of us were fortunate enough to grow up in Cleveland. I remember when I was a little boy, I'd say to my mama, "Will I ever be able to smell Lake Erie before I die, Mama?" And she said, "We don't have the money for that. Not everyone can live in Cleveland." And so it wasn't until 1985 that I made it to Cleveland for the first time for the world premiere of my one-man show, because Cleveland was the only city that wanted to see my one-man show. And I've had a soft place in my heart for Cleveland ever since. Now, the reason I'm telling y'all this is that for some reason, Cleveland has always had the weirdest local TV, the greatest radio comedians, the most bizarre late-night movie hosts. They love bad movies in Cleveland, by the way. They'll show stuff in Cleveland they won't show in the Philippines. And tonight, we're continuing with our month-long Horror Host Hall of Fame by honoring the man who started that whole Cleveland thing, the late-night movie host on Cleveland's WJW-TV Channel 8 from 1963 to 1966, and he has been a folk hero and a legend ever since. His real name is Ernie Anderson, and he's one of the top voice talents in America for the ABC network. You know the voice that introduced the Love Boat? I won't try to do it here because he's in the Magic Castle here with me. It'd be embarrassing. But that Love Boat voice, that's Ernie. He started out in radio. He was the comedy partner of Tim Conway in his early days in Cleveland. But tonight we're going back to his horror heyday when he was so hot that kids in Cleveland dressed up like him at Halloween. They bought his sweatshirts. They drank out of mugs with his name on them. We've recreated his old set, and we've asked him to introduce tonight's movie on drive-in theater just exactly like he would have done it between 1963 and 1966. 1966 was the year when the local PTA finally put pressure on the station and ran him out of Cleveland. He was known for his wardrobe. He dressed like a cross between Maynard G. Krebs and the devil. He was known for his lingo. He invented words like kniff, which is think spelled backwards. And he had slogans that he used all the time like turn blue, which kids would do it literally. They'd hold their breath till they turned blue. And he was especially known for his jokes about Parma. Now, Parma is a Polish suburb of Cleveland where people wear bowling shoes to work. It's that kind of place. We'll be interviewing Ernie after the movie, but right now, from the Hepcat world of the early 60s, please welcome the great, the only, Ghoulardi'.
Before we begin, I'm going to give you a secret. Joe Bob wears makeup. I don't need any makeup. Ghoulardi' needs no makeup. Ghoulardi's done drunk himself handsome. Another thing about Joe Bob. You know the hat? He's all hat and no movies. You know, Ghoulardi' hates nostalgia. Ghoulardi' knows nostalgia ain't what it used to be. Ask yourself this question as you sit there in your living room or wherever you may be. Why are you watching this? You could be out having a good time with the guys, playing poker. Ghoulardi' plays poker all alone. Find a girl and you poker. Ain't bad. My kind of game. Tonight's movie group has holes in it only the Swiss could love. They got enough padding in there you could make yourself a king-sized mattress. And it's called Invaders from Mars. Does that scare you? Meant to. I want to be scared. Why?
Do I understand you to say that you have actually seen this movie?
Don't mess with Ghoulardi's gig. I do a solo goofy goof. I'm sorry, Joe Bobby Bob.
I'm sorry, you know, but Mr. Ghoulardi', sir.
Yeah, you can call Ghoulardi' king.
All right, Mr. Ghoulardi', Your Highness. Okay,
Yes.
we have to go to the movie now. Okay?
Aww.
It's like we took too much time. It's like a requirement.
A requirement?
A requirement.
Ghoulardi' doesn't do anything he's required of. What is this, a hat?
That's my hat.
Did you hear my line, you're all hat, no movies?
I heard
Did you laugh?
Yeah, I heard both your cracks.
Yeah. Both of them?
Thank you. Yes, very.
I had 2 cracks. Did you like the crack about the... You probably did. See this hat? Boys, do something with that hat for me, will you? For Ghoulardi'. Just do something with that hat. Thank you. Oh, good one, huh? You like that? Ghoulardi' liked that.
Well, that was great, Ghoulardi'. Okay, can you stick around for an interview after the movie?
I tell you what, stay sick, turn blue, And never eat fish.
Do you have any short answers? He's a legend, believe me, he's a legend. You know, we don't have to get carried away with this stuff.
Could I just get a wheelchair?
Invaders from Mars. Kind of goofy today, but one of the greatest sci-fi classics of the 50s. Those little red X's on the backs of their necks still give me the willies. I could have done without the gay guys in leotards running around like giant green beans, but you know, it was the 50s. That's what they did instead of special effects. All right, Ernie Anderson is still here.
Oh.
Better known in Cleveland as the great Ghoulardi, late-night movie host at Channel 8 from 1963 to 1966. Ernie is our second guest on Horror Host Hall of Fame Month. We still have 2 to go. Next week it's John Stanley of Creature Features fame in San Francisco, show that ran for 14 years in the 70s and 80s. And then right before Halloween, we'll have Elvira will be here with her 2 enormous talents. You've seen her, right, Ernie?
Arthritis.
Okay. All right, Ernie.
Wow.
You've revealed your true self here.
Yeah,
no
I know.
beard.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you, Ernie, I have gotten letters for years from people saying, did you ever see a guy named Ghoulardi in Cleveland? Do you know if he's still around? Because whoever was in Cleveland between 1963 and 1966, no matter what age they are, they remember that show. So what in the world were you doing in those days to get people so stirred up? Because I didn't see the show, but I've heard about it.
Didn't you see the bit that I did on your show?
Well, yes, I did.
That's what I was doing in Cleveland.
And that drove them mad, huh?
I have no answer for it. It seems lunacy.
Was it, what got you in trouble? Sexual stuff?
Oh, no, no, no. Ethnic stuff got me in a lot of trouble.
Ethnic jokes. That'll still get you in trouble.
I used to pick on, not really.
Yeah.
I used to pick on a little suburban bedroom neighborhood called Parma.
Yeah.
And we'd play polka music. And every time they play polka, Parma, what are you doing? And I'd do a big shtick on Parma, and I'd tell them they wore white socks. You said they wore bowling shoes. That was good, too, because they do, and they did. And I used to do a lot of white sock hits on them, and flamingos on the lawn. And there's no humor unless there's a touch of reality. Do you know what I mean? If they didn't have flamingos on the lawn, and if they didn't wear white socks, I would have no place to go.
Yeah.
They did.
So you would hear from the Parma Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, they came down. I did a little sketch that opened the show called Parma Place. And this guy would come home, and his wife would be there with the hair all in curlers. And I'd come in, and I'd say, hi, terrible day down at the, raking muck out of Lake Erie. And I'd hand her a bag, a brown paper bag. And I'd say, I think I got a little pickle juice on the corner, but I think it'll last another week. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Kielbasis and all that.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go back to the beginning. How did you become Ghoulardi? How did that show start?
It was very simple. They bought a package of horror movies, and they were looking for somebody. They had the idea, we'll get somebody to host them. And they just walked up to me and said, one day after I had done some kind of a little show, I forget what it was, and they said, would you like to host it? And I said, absolutely, why not? You know, more bucks and a gig.
How about the name? How did they get that?
They held a contest for the name, and the guys wrote in the Ghoulardi, and I made I made it Ghoulardo. I mean, it was Ghoulardo, and I made it Ghoulardi.
So they had a contest, and the winner.
Yeah, that's exactly how I got the name.
Yeah. Well, did you ever use you never used a script for that show, did you?
Oh, no, never.
Did you plan at all what you were going to do on the show?
Oh, sure, you had some kind of an idea. And I'd film little things, little openings, little sketches, you know. I mean, I'd get to be Ernie Anderson. I'd take the beard off and just do, you know, Ernie Anderson.
Well, what about the Ghoulardi lingo that you had? I mean, you know, you had these slogans like, you know, cool it, you purple kniff, and stuff like that, that they only use in Cleveland. Where did you get that stuff?
Just out of my my butt. You know, they just came to you. What can I tell you? You know, you just thought of it. You know, turn blue.
Yeah, well, but that's one that got you in trouble, though, isn't it? When you turn blue.
No, the Parma stuff got me in trouble.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And
Don't do
stay
that.
sick. That was sort of your signature line, right?
Yeah, well, it works. Stay sick, you know.
Okay.
I mean, we're all sick.
Okay.
Stay sick. It's fun. to
Sort
be
of the
sick.
opposite of have a nice day.
Yeah, what do you want to be, well? You know, that's as good as you're ever going to feel.
Okay, well now let me ask you this. You prepared for this by doing a lot of radio comedy, is that right? You had a show with Tim Conway? Or
Yeah, well,
worked with
no,
Tim
we
Conway?
did television comedy. We did television sketches.
In Cleveland?
Yeah, in Cleveland. I hosted a morning movie show, and Tim Conway directed it, and he and I were partners. We
I
were
see.
buddies.
Well, in fact,
Did I leave you?
I have here an album from my personal comedy collection that I wanted. Do you remember this?
Oh,
you got to
sure.
remember this.
Bull.
Bull.
Yeah.
With, if we can get a shot of this, with
Yeah,
Tim Conway and Ernie Anderson.
Is that incredible? That's old.
When,
98 cents in the browser bin, you know.
no, excuse me, $20 at the collector's edition record store. You got to do one thing for us before you go.
I'd be delighted.
I know you get asked this all the time.
Okay.
I know it's real nerdy to ask you to do it, but will you
Yes, it
say,
is.
you know, people probably, I'm embarrassed to ask you to do this, but would
Go.
would you do it?
I would rather do something that was really good.
Okay.
All right. The winds of war. War. I forget. War and what? Remembrance.
Yeah, well,
But that's great. I like that stuff. That was good stuff.
you like that better than the Love Boat?
Oh,
stuff?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you won't do it for us one time, please. Just
On the
one time.
Love Boat. Him
Thank
talk
you.
over.
Outstanding.
Did you hear him talk over?
All right, Ernie. I appreciate it.
There's no timing at all.
The drive-in theater audience appreciates you doing that.
And I love the drive-in theater audience. Too. They're great people.
We have one more movie tonight, Montenegro. Have you seen this movie?
No.
Well, it's a hot one. Weird 1981 Yugoslavian Swedish flick thing starring Susan Anspach as a bored housewife who goes out for some hot sexual adventures with a band of goofy gypsies. There's this one scene where she's aardvarking in a vat of barley. Probably remember that. 3.5 stars. You should stick around for this one, Ernie. You'll enjoy
in
this.
a vat of barley?
Say something else, anything. I'd love to hear this man talk.
Good night.